trespassing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to be talking about top lane, and I'm going to give you guys tips that I think can really help you get out of that low elo with the top lane, and some things that you should look to bring into next season and your play. If you're new to the channel, my name is LowFit. I do educational videos, do tips videos, do guide videos, do a bit of streaming to hang out with you guys, answer any questions. Just always looking for people for more flex, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I'm going to put a Discord link down in the description. I'm peaked at about Diamond 4, Diamond 3 experience, so I'm not the highest level player. I'm not like a challenger or anything, but what I feel like I can really offer you guys is I am helped so many people get out of bronze, silver, and gold. I've brought so many accounts out of that just kind of by helping them with tips. Sometimes I do one-on-one coaching when I have the time. It's a very time-consuming process, but if you are looking for a channel to help you climb and get out of that low elo, I feel like I can really help you guys out. If you like the video, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm really trying to hit that 3K mark before we get to the new year. Yeah, I'm always open to feedback and critique. If you guys, I love constructive criticism on my videos. I'm really trying to get better, and maybe you're like, hey, you just showed too much content, or you were talking too much. I love those kind of things. I really am just trying to get better at this whole thing. I am a small community, so I am extremely interactive. If I ever see a comment, I'm always trying to message back, and I always try and chat with you guys on Discord. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and let's get into that first point. There is a reason why we're going to go over this first, just because it is simply one of the biggest changes that have come with this preseason, and that is tower plating. And the importance of tower plating cannot be overstressed in this meta, giving a large amount of income for doing nothing but just standing there whacking away on the towers, with the gold being dispersed incrementally at different health thresholds. It rewards you for taking chunks out of the tower, compared to the previous seasons where you had to just completely destroy the tower to get any gold out of that. So what that is going to bring is it's going to bring a prevalence to champions that are able to push the enemy out of the lane. This is going to be extremely crucial in the new lane. This can be accomplished by a few different ways. First up, chunking them out. Say you're playing the lane bully like Darius, you get an apprehend in, you're able to combo them out, and they're at 20% health. They're either going to get dove or they're going to have to back. So this is going to be a decent way to snowball a bit, get a bit of gold out of the towers. Or another way to do it is to out sustain them. This is usually done with champions with a decent amount of healing, where they can take pretty much any type of trade and then heal it back up, whether it be off minions or going on the enemy champion with abilities. For example, Vladimir's Q off of healing off the minions, Alawi's Q, Renekton's Q. It seems like a lot of these sustainabilities have been coming from Q, but you get my example. And the last type we have of just attaining a lot of gold is to coordinate well with your jungler. Ping him a lot. Say, hey, I got this guy at a low threshold, or I am pretty sure we can dive. It's a part of your kit. Maybe you're playing something like Kled that has a dismount reset aggro type of ability to the kit. So make sure that your jungle is aware that you are able to really assist him and snowball the game through the top lane. Now what we're seeing is in the top lane right now is we're seeing kind of a push away from some of the champions like Gangplank that need some time to scale, can't really get too much tower damage done. They might be able to harass quite a bit in lane, might be able to win a few trades, but they are not able to really grab a lot of gold off that plating. I would recommend staying away from GP unless you are a very good GP player. And then also we're seeing people shying away quite a bit from tanks due to their low damage on towers. They're also not the most fun champions to play, let's be honest. And it's just very hard for them to snowball and have a large impact on the game. So always keep in mind, When you're in champion select, look at the enemy team, look at what their jungler and their top laner is, and look at what your jungler and top lane combo is going to be, because there is going to be a direct correlation with how much gold you're going to be able to get, just due to those matchups and how you perform. Alright, now I want to cover just a little bit of the difference between the two different archetypes you're going to commonly see in the top lane. First up, we have the tanks. Second up, we have the bruisers slash fighters, people that are looking to carry and do damage. Now, how I like to portray these two different types of archetypes are, when you play a tank, you have a very high base effectiveness. This is very good for people who are auto-filled into top, or they might have been in an elo where they feel like they're getting consistently outplayed on a micro level. Tanks are usually going to be the better spot for you. If you are generally outplaying people on a micro level, you are going to want to look towards more of a carry potential due to the upside of playing fighters. Fighters are able to carry games a lot stronger, but also are a huge detriment to your team when you are behind. So how I want you guys to look at this, and how I feel like you should look at it when you're trying to climb from the top lane, is just maybe check out your OPGG, or just keep track of how your win rates are going, how many, not just your win rate, but if you're winning the lanes, period. If you're winning the lane 55-60% of the time with people with a huge upside, for example, Aurelia, Akali, Jax, people that really can carry that late game, I would heavily encourage you to continue playing those fighters, because there is so much more you can do in the late game to carry. Say you are kind of struggling a bit in your lane, you're going maybe like 45 to 50% win rate, but you're just really strong in team fights. You're able to not necessarily carry, but just get a good CC, maybe land a really key skill shot, like something like a Malphite ult. You might want to try out playing tanks. There are two different players. There's not everyone is that like 1v9 player that can just solo carry every game. Really try to identify what you are. Me personally, I feel like I am a much more of just a tank player, or a bruiser player with a little bit of damage. I play very not mechanically intensive champions. Just because a little bit older, a little bit slower, don't have the best reaction times. So I just play champions with a decent upside for winning the lane, but I'm always going to be useful to my team. If I get outplayed by an extremely talented micro player, I can usually win just due to better decision making in team fights and macro play, and that's how I've found success in being able to climb up to diamond. The most important part I really want to hammer home, as top lane is becoming a less popular role, when you do get auto-filled, just please play a tank, play something very simple, play something like Garen, play something like Urgot, play something like Trundle, just play something you have a little bit of experience on, and I feel like this is really going to stop the hemorrhaging of LP you get when you are auto-filled, just because there are so many really annoying lane bullies you're going to counter in the top lane, because the meta is all over the place. You're starting to see the tank victors. I've seen a couple Qmax Cassiopeias up there, so really just try and minimize your losses when you are auto-filled and you know that your lane isn't doing well. Be like, hey, I'm down 2 kills on this guy. I can either keep trying to fight, maybe I outplay him, maybe I have a little bit of a comeback, which is going to be a pretty low percentage, or hey, I'm going to minimize my losses, I'm going to make great decisions in the late game, and I'm going to outplay him in the team fights. Really pick your fights. You don't want to just win the battle to overall lose the war with yourself. Keep this in mind. Find out what your play style is. If you have any questions about this, I would love to help you guys out. Just comment down below and I will take a look at your OPGG, or you can check out the Discord and send me a direct message and I can check it out. One final point with archetypes is that the top level top tier, top ranked players in Challenger that play top lane are able to climb that high because they bruisers and
Those really high mechanical champions have such a high upside. That's why they're able to climb so high. For example, they're playing things like a Kali. They're playing things like Aurelia, maybe a little bit of Camille, things that are really challenging. You do not try and copy those type of players and that type of play style if you just are not mechanically as gifted as the people in your elo. How you can gauge this is just by generally if you're winning your trades and you're winning your lane. Just I really heavily encourage you guys to keep track of how you are, how your lanes are going and how many of them you are winning and losing. Okay, and another thing I wanted to talk about real quick with you guys is the importance of gank assist in top lane. And this is kind of something you should be looking at before the game even starts. Now, if you see your jungler hovering Nidalee, hovering Lee Sin, hovering Jarvan, they are really trying to look to snowball early and carry the game hard. When you see junglers like this, it is going to be extremely beneficial for your team to pick a champion with good gank assist. Obviously, don't go out of your champion pool to encourage this. Do not try and play something you've never played before. Just pick the champion that you're most comfortable with a decent amount of CC. This will bring a huge amount of success. It might just give you that 1 or 2% edge you might need for the game. Maybe it's that one game that gets you promoted. Maybe it's that one small thing. It's just all these small things that I'm trying to help you guys put together to climb. So if you see one of those hard snowballing junglers, maybe play something like Kled, where he can pull people back with his Q. Maybe play something like Maokai if you're more of a tank player that has a crap load of CC. You get my idea. Next up, with the Scuttle being worth so much gold and giving you so much vision and preventing you, Scuttle is not your jungler. It isn't only for your jungler to control. You should be looking to help him. If you are able to push the lane in very quickly and get it to tower, you should be looking to help control the Scuttle. Either push the underlevel jungler off the Scuttle or help your jungler by zoning out their jungler and making sure that you have Scuttle control. And while you're doing this and while your lane is pushed and you're assisting with the Scuttle, the top laner has a really poor choice to make. Either he's going to have to miss all the CS he just pushed under his tower, which is going to feel terrible, and a lot of low elo players are just going to stick around for the gold, or they're going to come and help and do the 2v2, and you're probably going to be one level higher than him, which is going to be quite important because you have killed more minions than him. Next up, the Rift. The Rift Herald is so important with these tower platings and with this really early game meta. If you can get more rifts in your game, if that's a poor part of your game where you really don't understand when to use rift, when to ping your jungler over for rift, really try and work on this quite a bit more. Try and get as many resources. Try and be on a good buyback. If you see the Rift Herald is spawning soon, make sure you have all your gold spent and really look to ping the jungler aggressively, because in low elo you're not even really going to be seeing too many people aggressively look at the Rift, but it is worth so much gold. Next point we're going to go over is how our different archetypes work with the bot lane. So I don't know if you guys have been playing since the Ardent Sensor meta. It was a season ago or so, and when there was Ardent Sensor meta, there were ADCs that were just basically gods. They controlled the games. It was a coin flip for the top laners. What worked with ADCs? It were tanks. Tanks were the best. Tanks, you'd see like Sejuani out of the jungle. You'd see Zac out of the jungle. So when you see like a hyper carry ADC and you're in a higher elo, sometimes it is better to pick a tank if you are a tank player. Obviously, this is going to provide your ADC a lot of time to shoot out if they're struggling killing you in the front line as a tank. And then oftentimes when the meta is an unorthodox meta with weird ADCs like Heimerdinger or Ziggs or what else? Swain. Usually a bruiser is going to be a better top laner for the carry and just for the overall setup for that meta. So just keep that in mind as the meta kind of goes in flux with the new season coming out. Just remember, hey, tanks are good with ADCs. Unorthodox ADCs are better with bruisers. All right, and getting into what you are able to do when you are in a dominant lane and how you can cure that age-old question of having a feeding team but you're doing well every game. What you should be doing is attacking that enemy's jungle. You should be pinging your ally jungle, be like, hey, let's go invade this guy, let's take his red buff, let's take his raptors, let's take just everything from him, let's ward up his jungle, and really just try and take as much power away and snowball ability away from their jungler. And this is going to lead you, I promise, to more wins if you are able to put this into effect. Also, when you have your lane pushed in and it is a big wave under the turret, you are going to consistently be able to outduel the jungler in most cases due to your ability to have more resources from being a solo laner. You're going to be a higher level than the jungler, hopefully, unless you're just really getting bullied out of lane. So you should be able to win those 1v1s. And if you're a burst, any type of champion with burst and can kill someone very quickly, you should be looking for those traps. I recommend just grabbing a control ward or a sweeper, sitting in a bush near a high import camp like red buff and like raptors that junglers just love to go to, and waiting for them and killing them. Okay, nextly, the second to the last point we're going to talk about is the importance of gold when you are playing a bruiser in the top lane or a fighter. Our builds are so goddamn expensive compared to ADCs, compared to mages. So what we have to do, you have to get very, very good at CSing. You have to get as many tower plays as you can. You have to eat up any enemy jungle farm you can when you're able to. It's really up to you to really play towards the strengths. If you're like one of those people that like you have a lot of talent, but you just need to unlock it, and the way you unlock it is just by getting sacks and sacks of gold, because just how the bruiser plays out in the late game, they're all very strong duelists. What the penalty they pay for that is just having very expensive items, like Triforce being really expensive. I mean, Sterix is expensive. Death's Dance is ludicrously expensive. They're even increasing Tiamat's gold. So just be really mindful. If you're able to stick around and get another wave of gold, if you're able to get that one more jungle camp that your jungler isn't clearing, just really look to get as much gold as possible. The best way to climb out of low elo is just really increase your gold income at all costs. Next up, I'm going to actually end the video on this one, because what happens a lot when you run an educational stream is I have a lot of people that come in and say, hey, I have a lot of feeding teammates. I just can't carry these teammates. Where I'm doing well, I'm winning 90% of my lanes, but I just can't close the games. A couple of points I wanted to go over that really quickly is a good way to help out feeding teammates is obviously tower gold, shifting around to the different towers, taking your tower. If you're winning 90% of those lanes, your tower should be dead. You should be asking for your bot lane to switch, because they're going to probably want to switch because they're feeding anyways. Take that tower and then just rotate to objectives and use your power and disperse it. You want to be a communist. You want to just go around and help other people as much as possible and spread your lead. People that are just being very selfish and only in their lane, only doing things for themselves, are going to struggle, because it is all on you. If you die, if you get caught in that team fight, game's over, because you have all the gold, all the resources. Spread those resources, and it's kind of like diversifying your stock portfolio. You don't want to just have all your loss at one point. If one bad thing happens, try and let everyone in on your success, and your team will do overall better. Another thing with feeding teammates to keep in mind, we're going to end this on that. I love hammering this home because it's so important. If you are consistently getting feeding teammates, your enemies are getting pulled by those by the same champion, well, the same player pool. So you're going to be seeing people of equal skill to your feeding teammates as your enemy. It's good you're able to identify that, but you need to learn how to carry more effectively. I have a bunch of videos on those, the correct champions. You should check out my playlist. I try and do some one-on-one coaching. I don't have too much time right now, but we might be able to schedule something. If you want to join the Discord, I'd love to help you guys out with that type of stuff, and you can send me a direct message. That'll wrap up the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to get to that 3K mark. We are so close. So thank you so much for all your support recently, and as always, guys, take it easy.